producers who are involved. Block Matrix, Sweden, Rio, EOS DAC, Barcelona, and Attic Lab, and a bunch of other great guys are doing some stress testing, so we'll publish. That's why there's 2 million.
Wow. Yeah. You guys do some amazing work. Are you ready to share a screen, or are you guys fine? No?
The screen's not that interesting. We just thought people would get tired of looking at us.
No, it's quite fine. It's quite fine. First of all, I think this is gonna be like a personal appreciation from us here in Nairobi. I remember when we were starting out back in the day, we used to get a lot of help from Buddha. Thank you very much for your assistance. You really helped us get onto the jungle testnet, learn the ropes around there. Thank you. We appreciate that very much, and we continue appreciating the amazing work that you're doing in the community. We keep supporting it, and we keep looking forward to what you guys publish regarding all the work we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any questions from the audience. Let me just check through. Okay. There are not that many questions, but Tanish is quite excited. Looks like you guys have a very good working relationship there with Tanish.
Yeah, and EOS Metal's also involved in the stress testing that's going on. Look for an article on Wednesday probably. We want to do some more testing on Monday, and then we'll publish Wednesday. But it's big news. I think we're pushing EOS software to its absolute limits.
Oh wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. And are there any resources that developers can get their hands onto so that they can start looking at what Jungle has to offer? They can come in and learn.
Yeah, the ground zero, really this was the only thing we wanted to show on the share screen. It's the URL, but I think people can remember. It's jungletestnet.io. Beautiful website built by the guys from EOS Costa Rica. Jungletestnet.io.
All right. I think I'll just type it in here for the chat so that people can get it. So that's jungletestnet.io. All right. Yeah, is that it? Jungletestnet.io. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking us through this session. We really appreciate that. I am not seeing any questions from the audience. So, there's a question. So yes, Dami is asking, what do you guys think about Dan's new project idea when he had in the shower?
All right, well, just to put this in context for people who don't know, Dan came out and said he has a great new idea. Significantly, he said that it's a medium of exchange, so it's not a DApp platform. So I think all the fears of him abandoning EOS have subsided because it's just a DApp platform. I think Dan is a lot like Bogdan. He just wants to always do something new. So, good on him. One of the sort of sharpest comments that was posted in that Telegram channel I kind of agreed with is like, hey, Dan, why don't you just spend more time helping block producers build a feature-complete EOS, all right? Because EOS is not feature-complete. It's, no referendum contract. That's a white paper feature that would have solved a lot of disputes that have been going on, because right now there's no sort of official way for us to resolve our differences. But Dan said, do you want Apple to stop innovating until the iPhone is perfect? He's basically saying, I need to be on the frontier making new things. And he's, Block One or whoever, or Block Producers or someone else will sort of round out the things he built. So what do I think about it? I don't know what I think. I think that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. And we need to make it, do the best we can wherever we are, whatever resources we have.
That's a very good and concise answer. I'm sure has his answer now. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you guys have planned for the future. I know there's a lot that block producers will put on hold. David Packham came and said that there's a lot of activity that block producers would put on hold, especially the ones that require like direct cash investments. So I just wanted to know if you get to do a positive outlook on the future, what do you find, or what do you feel will be the most meaningful thing to work on? And if the bear market continues, what do you feel that will be worth investing before it picks up again?
Well, I'm not sure we're ready to release some of the things that we're speculating about because we haven't fully committed to them yet. We're definitely feeling the pinch of the bear market. Tanish, we had to stall Daru a little bit. I'll be sending out an email about our Truth Bond project just because we have to pick and choose what we're working on. We need to sort of stay afloat. Right now, we're putting a lot of focus into making Jungle as good and helpful a place for developers and onboarding dApps as we can. That's a big focus. We're putting a lot of time into the EOS network monitor. Every week there's new statistics that it's showing. I think it's a great place to see the sort of health of the overall network. Our back ends are feeding the Blocks.io block explorer. Another back end is feeding my EOS kit. It's a popular sort of kit of EOS tools made by EOS Asia. So we're happy. We're just building. We're providing technical infrastructure for everybody.
Still working on history.
Yeah, we made a MongoDB history plugin that seems pretty popular.
Oh.
So it's and we beefed up our money instead of going to develop. So we're at the point where we have to make decisions what we're going to work on. So Daru is going to happen a little bit more slowly, and we put 3 servers on our history plugin so people can make reliable API calls. We think infrastructure is more it's more important for block producers to do than to like build new products, although we certainly want to do both. We're trying to do both.
Oh, okay. That's really awesome. So seems like people are really getting interested and questions are coming in. So we have about 3 questions. So I think I'll start with the first one. So for a newbie developer, how do they get working with Jungle? How do they get into the Jungle?
So to start with Jungle, just visit the jungletestnet.io webpage. There is the link to the monitor on the right top corner, and in the monitor you can register and put your all information about your endpoint, and it will create the auto installer script for you. You just need to run this auto installer script, and it will ask your all question and make all work for you. Install the node, start swap scripts, Genesis, and sync your node and everything. But if you would like to learn how it works, we have the Git manual with step-by-step documentation how to do this manually in case of binaries or source codes. The link was in the chat by Tanish published it. Thanks, Tanish. And so there is already some documentation. They will be very useful. So also please visit our Telegram group. There is a big community, a lot of answers already. A lot of questions is already answered there.
Right. Yeah. So I think the next question is from Keith, and he's asking, how supportive is Block 1 to the Jungle testnet?
They're great.
Yeah, we have great support before launch, and then Larimer came to Jungle in May probably and helped us a lot with different solutions.
We freaked out when we saw him in our Telegram channel. We couldn't believe it. But yeah, then it was like, he pops in, how are things going here? More often we interact with Bart or Phil Meissner or Sandwich, and they just, they give us an update, we install it, and let them know. We test patches when we need to. And it's good to have another big testnet, Kylan, because there have been times when one of us was down or one of us was unavailable because of some testing that was going on. So then that leaves one testnet always available.
Different testings, so different kind of testings. It's okay to have that.
Oh yeah. There's very many tests that need to be done. So how do you guys schedule your time around all the all the tests that need to be done and all the maintenance of both the jungle testnet and your work in the mainnet?
We try to move all our meetings to Friday so that we have Monday through Thursday uninterrupted. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Bogdan's like our team genius, so he works late. Like he waits till everyone goes home so that he could be alone and get a lot done. And then in the morning, I'm the one that's here trying to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction. So there's a little inside peek into how we operate, more or less.
That's really nice and interesting. Let me see if all the questions are done. So this one is, has Jungle experienced a ride in dApps? I think probably should be a rise in dApps and dApp development on the testnet. Have you received a rise?
I don't think this is something that actually we should have talked about. We are not putting a lot of energy into measuring and keeping track of which dApps are doing what on Jungle. So like we see announcements on Twitter, like, hey, we did this thing in Jungle, and we're like, oh, cool, we weren't aware of that.
Time to time I see in the log some this dApp testing, cool. But
yeah, I think we could put a lot of energy into like trying to capture everything that happens there and publish it, and maybe we will eventually, but it's not a priority right now. So we don't have a good handle on everything that's going on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. Like that's how it's supposed to be. It is a decentralized blockchain.
Oh yes, definitely. So I was trying to see if there are any other questions that have come in, so that get all the questions answered. So I think all the questions are answered, and I think even from the audience side, they've really enjoyed the presentation as much as I have. Thank you for the insightful presentation, and thank you for sharing your time. And
thank you. It's no small task to organize a conference of this scale. So thanks for all the effort you put into it. The media is so important here. I say that every time. Like the community is blind without the media, and the block producers will only be as good as the media that covers them.
Yes, that is a very true statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right. I think we'll jump into the next session. We'll carry everyone over to the next session. Let me just see who's in the green screen right now. Welcome back, everyone. So this is Chestnut. Daniel will be joining us in a bit. The invention. Oh, very nice to see you, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good.
I'm excited to be here. I got to apologize in advance. I'm actually in the Istanbul airport on my way to South Africa for the grand finale. So apologies if there's any background noise or if I cut out for a second, anything like that.
Oh, no problem. Congratulations on getting to South Africa and welcome to Africa.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here. We're fired up. We're excited.
I'm really excited to hear about your project. I was at the London Hackathon where I met Patricia and I met Asher.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to meet you, unfortunately, but I saw you on stage.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the 2 wins that you guys had.
Thank you. Are you going to be at the grand finale?
No. Unfortunately not. I want to be traveling down to South Africa.
Okay.
But there's a big enough representation of EOS community members who will be in South Africa.
Definitely.
All right.
Great.
Thank you. So I'll leave this to you. You can tell us more about your project and what you're working on.
All right.
Possible future.
Yeah. Sounds great. Thanks, Daniel. So I'm going to try to do the screen share. I don't know exactly how this works. So just give me a second. Okay.
And you see the
screen share.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do this. Present. All right. There we are, Chestnut. So, we as a community and as blockchain evangelists have before us an adoption chasm that is terrifying for ordinary people to cross. They're never going to cross over and be blockchain users. They're just not going to do it unless we give them a bridge that is safe, familiar, and easy to use. I'm Daniel Liebeskin, and we're Team Chestnut, the creators of the Chestnut Smart account. You may remember us, as Daniel mentioned, from the London EOS Hackathon, where we won 2nd place and Best UX. Many of you listening have probably made a mistake at some point in your blockchain career. Inconvenient and costly. One of the great things we talk about as cryptocurrency enthusiasts is that you are your own bank. You own your private keys, you therefore have control. But how do you protect yourself from accidentally sending somebody 10,000 EOS instead of 1,000 EOS? With a traditional bank, we are protected and feel safe because banks don't let you send $10,000 to somebody without verifying that you meant to do it. They also, at least in the US, don't let you take out more than, say, $200 from an ATM at once. And they have algorithms and an army of people monitoring your account to stop fraudulent activity. In cryptocurrency, we don't have any of that, and we don't want it. Right? We don't want a big brother watching and controlling everything that we do. We shouldn't, but we shouldn't be left to we should be allowed to defend ourselves and turn our accounts into smart accounts. Do things like set transaction limits, black and white list accounts, spam filters, these sorts of things. There are arbitration options like ECAF that might help us to reverse transactions, but shouldn't we instead be able to prevent those transactions from happening in the first place? This isn't a problem for the tech illiterate either. Sorry, catch up with the slides. Many potential early adopters who consider themselves tech savvy, yet are new to blockchain technology, feel discouraged from participating in the EOS blockchain ecosystem. Setting up an account is a nightmare, as many of you probably know. Allocating resources is still confusing, and even doing a simple transfer can be fraught with danger. Right now, there are no takebacks, nor any system in place to help guide you through these early chapters of onboarding. With a simple interface focused on the user experience, Chestnut makes it easy to be your own actual bank, plus so much more. You're not relying on a third party to manage your account as in traditional banking, and you're given the tools to protect yourself and it's all very easy. Chestnut accounts are both for newcomers and EOS veterans alike. And it's kind of like Google Suite. We think of it as sort of like a Google Suite for cryptocurrency. There we go. Google Suite of cryptocurrency. Enjoying the EOS ecosystem. Second is setting up a Chestnut Smart account, which unlocks the power of setting parameters and thresholds, makes it easy for users to protect themselves against undesirable transactions or accidental transactions. And the third is Chestnut Tools, which is an entire suite of functionality for managing and monitoring your account. So I'm going to start off by telling you more about Chestnut Smart accounts, because that's kind of the core feature here. Chestnut Smart accounts are permission-based accounts that require multiple signatures for any transaction to occur. In a basic setup, one of these signatures is held by a user and stored in a wallet like Scatter or Linux, or anything that's coming down the pipe. And the other is held in a Chestnut Smart contract that is tied to the user's smart account. Users can set their own parameters, such as number of transactions over a period of time and per week, amount of EOS that can be sent in a single transaction, whitelist and blacklist accounts or dApps. And whenever a user attempts to do a transaction or interacts with a dApp using their smart account, it feels to them exactly like interacting with that dApp using a traditional account. They sign the transaction with the key that's held in their Scatter or links, and then before the transaction actually is pushed to the blockchain, it is reviewed by the Chestnut Smart contract tied to the account. And if the transaction meets the predefined thresholds, the smart contract signs the transaction. If not, it doesn't sign the transaction and it fails. Users can change their parameters as often as they like. They can also create multiple Chestnut accounts, add additional signatures, even add multiple smart contracts to a single account. The flexibility is enormous and the possibilities are limitless. If you already have an EOS account, you can easily create a Chestnut Smart account and start sleeping a little bit easier. But for the 99% of the world that does not already have an EOS account, Chestnut simplifies the experience of joining the EOS ecosystem by making it easy to create one. Creating an EOS account is not easy. Most of the tutorials say something like, to create an EOS account, you need to already have an EOS account, which is kind of cryptic and confusing. And talk about alienating newcomers. Even the best tools for creating EOS accounts typically require that you send EOS from an exchange to a named account, which will then generate you a private public key combo. And you need to figure out then how to import that into a wallet, process for which there are very few useful guides. So if you have an EOS account and a Chestnut Smart account, you've set your parameters, you're feeling pretty protected. Now what do you do with it? You can interact with dApps as you normally would, and you can manage your account right from chestnutaccounts.com. Put the URL right there for you. With a focus on making the user experience simple and intuitive, we are managing your resources, transferring EOS and tokens, and even making voting super simple. So we think of as Chestnut as an entry point for new users into the EOS ecosystem, and a no-brainer for anybody that uses EOS accounts to transfer tokens, interact with dApps, et cetera, et cetera. If you are interested in setting up your own Chestnut Smart account, go to chestnutaccounts.com. We're already using smart accounts on Jungle Testnet. We just heard from the Jungle folks. We're using that. I'm excited about it, and we expect to go live in the next few months. We'll also be part of the EOS Hackathon Grand Finale next week in South Africa. So come say hi if you're going to be in town. And remember, a chestnut is a tough nut to crack. That's what I got to say.
That's very nice. That's very nice. And congratulations. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you.
To South Africa. I'm seeing some questions are coming in, and a lot of people are really excited about chestnuts. Yeah,
wait, Daniel, before you do the questions, can I just I just want to quickly show
Oh, sure thing.
Can you still see my screen? Yeah, so I just want to quickly show just some screenshots from the demo that we gave in London, just so people can have a sense for what this will look like. So this is our first page, sort of our home page. If you onboarding to create your first rules, you select a rule, input your parameters, boom, and then you have this dashboard here where you can see your rules, turn them on and off, freeze your account, see all of your recent activity, this is from our hackathon. We now have a lot more going on, but just want to give people a sense for that. Whoa, infinite windows. Okay.
If you don't mind, just.
All right, so let's do the questions.
I just wanted to see the screen again.
Here we go.
Okay. Are you able to get back to the screenshot?
Oh, sure. You want to see the slides again? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. Just the final image of what Chestnut looks like.
Okay. Let me do this again. How did I share this in the first place? Sorry, Daniel, just bear with me for a second. Oh, right there. Okay. Okay.
So, is that your flight?
Sorry?
I'm asking if that is your flight.
If it's what flight?
If it's your flight to South Africa.
That they're announcing? No. We have like 4 hours in the airport. So we're holed up in a little cafe here in Istanbul. Okay. And I've never seen Istanbul, and I'm not going to see it this time either. So I'll have to come back.
And who are you with on this trip? Are you with Patricia?
I'm with Danielle, who's also a member of Team Chestnut. See her here?
Hi.
Hi, Danielle.
So we have our Chestnut shirts as well. You can probably see here.
Really cool. Really cool.
Really cool.
So,
thank you.
This is the basic user platform, right?
Yep.
Is this a basic user platform?
Yeah, so this would be the basic dashboard that users would come to. And again, this was from the hackathon. What we actually have is now a little different and has more functionality. So we have a whole suite of tools now, for example, which we didn't have as part of the hackathon. And account creation was also not, the EOS account creation was not part of the hackathon project. So this is sort of the simplified basic version. What we have now is much more robust.
Okay, and are you planning to extend the service to other EOS sister chains?
Yeah, the plan is to, I think that this is imperative infrastructure for all blockchains, but certainly for all EOS blockchains. And the plan is to, there will be something like this for each chain. And so the plan is to have Chestnut support any EOS incarnation that comes around.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So I see. There's some comments coming in.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So I actually see that this is. So you're getting a lot of good vibes here. People really love Chestnut. Yeah. So I see Patricia is saying that you're looking at a one-time account creation fee for the last year. Is that? Can you take us through the process of how a person who just got interested in EOS and wants to get in, how do they sign up?
Yeah, right. So, this is something that we're working on right now. And they come to the site. Our goal is to have this be super simple, very intuitive, definitely an emphasis and a focus on the user experience. And we actually have on our team some very experienced user experience folks. So Patricia is one of them. Annette, Danielle, they've all spent a lot of time focused on user experience. So the goal is to have it be very simple for somebody to come to the site. And our thought is that the traditional method of having to already have an account or relying on a third party to create the account by sending EOS to them is very challenging for people. And so we're going to be making it simple for a user to do what they're familiar with, right? Using familiar conventions, paying in traditional manners, and setting up an account very quickly without needing to have pre-existing understanding of what's going on. There are costs, obviously, to setting up an account. So for mainnet, we can't just be giving away accounts, which is one of the complications, around setting up accounts in the first place. One of the promises of some of the sister chains, like Telos, is free account creation for users. And so, we are excited about that. We think that one of the big barriers to user adoption right now and to onboarding is this cost, is the complexity. To the extent that we can minimize that complexity, getting rid of the cost is a massive step towards doing that. So I think we're excited by all of the different innovations that are coming and going to be helping to drive that and be at the forefront of it.
Wow, really exciting. So we have also seen some really interesting projects that also use tokens. Some platforms that have their own native tokens. So is there a way to extend Chestnut product offering, through an API or something, to developers who will be building solutions that will hold other people's tokens? It might be preferable to them to just have the tokens on their platform, not to move them to a Chestnut account.
Yeah, so that's a good question, really good question. I think, our goal is to have everybody be able to use a Chestnut account however they want, right? So we don't want to impose restrictions and third-party rules or anything like that. We want this to be a tool for the community. And so I think creating developer tools and extensions that make it easy to use this technology in whatever way makes sense for developers is kind of a no-brainer for us. I think that there's going to be a lot of creativity here. We're just at the beginning, right, of what people are going to be doing with dApps and with tokens. And I think it's definitely our goal to have this be very accessible and very usable by the community.
Hello. Lost you there for a minute. Sorry.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, we stopped at community, and you wanted to build this for community.
Yeah, so essentially, I guess I'm what I was saying was that we want this to be a tool set for the community, right? We think this is imperative infrastructure. We don't want to impose third-party rules. We want developers to be able to do whatever they want with this tool set, with this technology, and creating an API, making it accessible for people to use this in whatever way makes sense for them. We're just the beginning of what people are going to be doing with dApps and with tokens, and there's going to be a lot of interesting creativity going on. And we're excited to not only support that, but be part of it.
Oh, exciting. So let me see if there's a question I'm missing here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so there's a question, if this service will be in popular wallets like Mint1. Will you integrate it in popular wallets that people are already using, like Mint1?
Sorry, say it one more time.
So the question is, will it be in popular wallets like Mint1, like the Mint1 wallet?
Right.
Are you going to integrate it into wallets?
Yeah, I think more formal integration into wallets would make sense. For right now, you can integrate your own. You can add your key for your Chestnut account into a wallet. I think in terms of a long-term vision, there's probably going to be abstractions around wallets that make it easier and more accessible for users to actually interact with dApps and have wallets, right? I think one of the things we're probably going to see down the road is users aren't really even necessarily going to know that they're using a wallet. They're just going to log into a site and sort of how a Chrome extension works or something. They're going to go to Adapt. They're going to be able to interact with it. I think being integrated into that ecosystem and tightly coupled as a community, integrating all these tools together to make it really easy for users is something that we all need to do together. And I'll also, just one final thought on that is, I think we want to also be integrated into the different VPs and be part of this big ecosystem, this big community where we're all sharing tools together and creating one cohesive experience for users.
I see there's also some answers that have come in on the side chat. So Patricia says, if you already have an EOS account, you can transfer the base level EOS directly into the new Chestnut account that is tied through a multisig to your original EOS account. So each Chestnut account needs a base EOS account as the main signature, whether it is an original account you own or one generated through the sign-up process.
Exactly. And so for new users to the ecosystem, they can come to the site and they can create a new EOS account and a Chestnut account that's tied to that EOS account. For existing EOS account holders, they can come to the site and they can create a new Chestnut Smart account and just tie that to their existing account.
I understand.
Yeah, and you can hold, obviously you can hold your traditional EOS account keys in a wallet. You can also hold your Chestnut account key, your side of it, in the wallet, and the other key, the other side of it, is going to be held in a smart contract that's tied to that smart account, and that's how the signing of the transactions works. So you're going to sign it normally and interact with dApps and transfer normally just as you always would, but then the smart contract will only sign its side if the transaction meets the parameters and the thresholds that they've set for it.
Oh, that's really cool. And in fact, that was a question by Jimmy. Jimmy was asking, will people own their own private keys? Do we own our own private keys if we make a Chestnut account?
Yes.
Are we going to own the private keys?
Yeah, you're gonna own it entirely. You also can set up multiple. You can set up a higher threshold and tie multiple signatures to your smart account, just as you can with the normal account. So a user who owns the owner key can have lots of flexibility around what they do with this account. They can extend it, they can change it, they can stop it from being a smart account if they want. They can sort of retract that permission. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I think there's also one more question from Tanish. Is there a way to automate whitelisting if some apps are certified? Maybe in the future, I think in use cases, it would be awesome to have such an application.
Yeah. sorry for all these notifications going through, by the way. So yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that we want to do to make it easy for users to onboard is to give them different buckets of pre-settings, right? So you can, when you first create one of these smart accounts, you can select a bucket of settings. These are the whitelisted accounts, or more realistically, here are some blacklisted accounts. And here are thresholds for spending over a period of time, number of transactions. A user can always adjust these, but sort of just right out of the box, when you're creating the account, having these set up leads to a better user experience versus getting sort of an empty account and then having to figure it out yourself. So that is something that we're planning on having.
All right, really cool. I also see Marcus of Token Pocket is asking how many users can join the early access. You have an early access. You have an early access period. Do you have an early access process? And Marcus is asking how many users can join the early access.
Yeah. How many users can join the early access? Yeah, we don't necessarily have a hard limit on it. For right now, we're launching the early access in about a week. So I think we haven't really put a hard cap. I think the more the merrier at this point. It is going to be costly, so we may cap it at some point if we get too many people trying to create accounts as part of early access. But for right now, we don't necessarily have any plans to cap it.
All right. So are there any other questions in the chat area? I really liked this presentation. It was very, very informative.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, I wish you the very best when you come to Africa and when you present. I look forward to a viable business that will come out of this chestnut project. And
we're excited about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we are there as part of the community to offer support in any way, in any means you need.
Great.
To the best of our ability.
Thank you. I just want to just say a final thanks because my team couldn't actually be on the call, but I want to say thank you, Daniel Diamond, Annette Wilms, and Patricia Parkinson. Couldn't have done this. Obviously, we're an amazing team together. It's been a great journey so far, and excited for the whole team to go and win in Africa.
Oh yeah.
And Jack, we actually brought on a smart contract guy as well. So we're building out the team, and so yeah, we're excited.
Oh, all right. That's really cool. Are you able to share any developer resources that people can look at, those who are interested in learning how to build amazing solutions like Chestnut?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I'm actually writing on Medium about various tools that we're using to build out Chestnut. So you can check out my Medium. You can also join our Telegram. We're Chestnut EOS. I think I posted it before. We're happy to talk to anybody and share our knowledge with you guys, with the whole community. I think we're all in this together, and we're all going to either win or lose together. So let's win.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming in. I wish you the very best and a safe flight.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thanks, everybody.
All right. So that was a good session. Oh my. So Tanish, oh yeah, great. You'll connect on the Telegram channel. That's good. So we'll move on to the next session. So we'll carry over everyone to the next session. It's gonna start shortly. See you on the other side. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, they're coming in. Good. All right, welcome everyone. This is Paul, and we are in the 40th session. This is Atmos. We're gonna hear more from Paul today. Before Paul starts, once again, I just want to thank the team at My Wish, Vladimir, and the awesome guys in your team for sponsoring the EOS Summit, and for also building a really cool platform for developers to get on and to start building their smart contracts with ease, and for entrepreneurs to also start testing out their ideas and start testing out what they're bringing to the market. All right. Welcome, Paul. Please feel free to introduce yourself and to introduce what you do. It's awesome.
Thank you, Daniel. My name is Paul. I'm an active community member with the Novosphere project, and that is the underlying infrastructure that the Atmos token resides on. So this is a very community-driven project. It most of the ideas that drive development have come from the community, and it's a project that predates the EOS mainnet by almost 2 years. It was actually going to have its own DPoS-based system, but when the mainnet launched, we realized it was going to do everything that we needed it to do, and so we were very happy to migrate over. So the migration is actually ongoing, but it's over a year period to make sure everyone can do that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the first decentralized application that the Novosphere has launched. It's the EOS Forum, and it's a decentralized forum for on-chain communication. It is the goal of which is to unite all the different communities within the EOS sort of ecosystem. So let me get my presentation going, see if I can get this screen sharing up. Hold on. So I've actually never used this before. What do I have to do to share my screen?
So just hover over your screen and you'll see a share.
All right. Oh, that's pretty nice. Okay, cool. All right, so
Chrome extension. Oh yeah, it's coming up. Just give me a minute.
All right, so really on to slide 2 here. So the problem we've seen is that there's a lot of different communities that have sprung up around the mainnet, and every decentralized application has their own community. There's multiple rooms, multiple formats, multiple platforms talking about things, and this can lead to confusion. It can lead to people not really knowing if they're getting official information, if they're getting information from a scammer or from some sort of group of people that aren't the official members of a project. So what we're hoping to do is unite the various communities under one format, have it be on chain, so you know exactly who you're talking to, you know exactly if they represent the project, and then also allow these projects to better promote what they're doing. So let me go to this next slide here. So this is what the forum currently looks like. It's EOS-forum, and we realize it's a little bit rough around the edges right now, and we've really been working on the back end and making it as decentralized and portable and self-hostable as possible. So right now this is actually served from GitHub pages. It is anyone can run both the back end and the front end. Anyone can host it. You can customize it. It's completely, in that sense, completely decentralized. So one of the major problems that this is solving is that projects can have their own space on the forum, and they can have a way to interact with their community, and everyone can see what is going on with the project. The way that moderation works on this forum is that it's opt-in, and it's also moderation as a service. So you can have a group of people or a single person that you delegate to be your moderator. That way, they take care of the spam. They can remove posts that are not fitting within the community guidelines or whatever rules you set. But at the same time, that moderation is opt-in, so you're not worried about the power of that moderator being abused. And you can decide to delegate someone else or delegate a different group of people. And so we see this sort of developing a consensus model for moderation. And I think that is something that's very lacking in Reddit. And as you can see, this forum is very much a sort of a riff on what Reddit does. It's a threaded forum, and we're actively pushing out UI and UX changes to enhance this experience and make it a lot easier to customize and make it a lot easier to interact with other forum users. So let me go to the next slide here. So this is an example of a mock-up that we've been playing around with, which would be a project-specific subreddit or sub-forum page. So you can create subs on the fly. You literally it's eos-forum.org, and you can create a forum for any particular subject you feel like. There's no asking to create it. You just simply do it, and I will actually demonstrate that in a little bit. So here's what we kind of envision: people being able to set up their own pages for their projects, and then be able to communicate with their community. And so in this example, we have someone saying, a clever, witty, and helpful comment, and then, an example that you can tip. And you can tip any EOS standard token using the forum. So any user that posts content you like, simply hashtag tip, the amount of the tip, and then the actual abbreviation for the currency. So it's a pretty simple and straightforward interaction, and we're looking to enhance that as we move along to make the tips more prevalent and make it more noticeable that people have been tipping other users. So let me show you the other page here. So this is actually right now what we can currently do in terms of adding customization. So this is a customized theme and then customized icons or Farm EOS. And the idea here would be that this would be their page. They can customize the default moderation. They could customize pinned post to the top. Right now it's just the sort of current default, which just describes that anonymous post can happen in any sub now. So I guess I will get right into the demo here. That's the most interesting part. I want to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to just go live into a Chrome tab here. Okay. So this is a live view of the forum. There's actually mostly what you're seeing here are posts that are from Reddit. We've actually linked using a pair of bots back and forth communication from the EOS subreddit. So anything posted on that sub, it's cross-posted to this forum and therefore is embedded in the blockchain. And then any communication out of the forum in one of these posts is actually reposted onto Reddit. So it's already we're linking these two communities. There's a lot of communication that happens on Reddit, but that doesn't happen necessarily on Telegram, where there's lots of places to go to get information. We'd like to see it all happen in one very specific location, so people know where they're getting official information from. So as you can see here, there's this is a user account. You can actually go into the profile. You can see the number of comments, the number of threads, and then some examples of different posts that either the user's done or they've commented on. So there's a lot of enhancements to this profile that are coming, and this is one of the major set of features that we're planning to work on. The other thing that's sort of notable is that, and this will also be moved, but you can post anything you want under an anonymous ID. An anonymous ID is simply a way to give yourself access to resources that the developer of this app has staked, and so that you can post and they will be pushed to the blockchain using the Novasphere resources. So you generate a public and private key pair, and these are EOS standard key pairs. So we look to the future where these anonymous accounts can actually become actual accounts, and so that's something that we'll be looking into. So now, if I wanted to post, say under here, I can either choose to post under my account. And I'm just going to write a little message here. And then you can either, this is IPFS friendly, so you can post hashes to IPFS, or you can post URLs. I'm just going to URL here. I'm going to post this anonymously. I think that to demonstrate that functionality. And so, here it is. It's posted. You have this anonymous ID, which is the public key. It ensures that no one can, spoof my handle on this. And then I'll show another thing here, which is how the tipping works. I think the tipping has a really good possibility to help application developers interact with their community. I see a lot of giveaways happening. They happen through Telegram, and it's you see a developer giving away tokens or doing contests, and it lives and dies in Telegram. And there's not really a lot of value that you can get from a social media aspect. Whereas at in a forum like this, you can do the same thing. You can directly tip users. All the other users see that you're tipping them. The community sees it. Plus, it's infinitely more shareable to the wider community. So we'll go to someone who's posting. Well, I'm going to go to all because I'll just find something random here. And so here's a EOS Crash meme challenge. 50 EOS for the best memes. And we've got a post here. And so I can just quick reply to this. You can tip any, as I said, you can tip any currency that's on any standard currency. I'm going to tip Atmos because clearly I think it's the best one. But so now you'll see that scatter comes up, and so there we go. So we have the ability to tip, and the other thing that you can do is you can upvote posts. Only right now EOS account holders can upvote posts because it's actually done on chain. And if you hold Atmos, you can decide to add an upvote. So currently an extra upvote costs 10 Atmos. So half of that goes to the content creator, the other half goes into a community DAO fund that we have not really decided what we're going to do with yet, but it will obviously go to promote the broader Novosphere the application universe we're trying to build. So this is how that works. All right. So then now he has 2 upvotes for his meme. And then I could continue doing that if I wanted to. Let me now go back to. So that's sort of a run through of the forum. I don't know if there's where we're at here. I mean, we're time-wise, I think we're pretty good still. But
yes. I'm just taking some bit of notes on what is really interesting here. It's amazing. I love it. So I don't know if you have anything else before we go into the questions.
No, I'm happy to answer some questions. I think that kind of gives you the broad overview. I mean, I will throw out a stat here that since we launched the forum, there's been 21,000 posts. 17,000 of those have come from Reddit, and 4,000 have come natively posted onto the forum. So, it handles it handles a fair amount of traffic, and we're looking to, as I said, make it more user friendly and make the experience a little cleaner.
So you can tell us a bit more about Novosphere. You can tell us more about the DAO as we also wait for the other questions to come in.
Well, so the Novosphere is developing the technology that underlies the forum. There's Novosphere DB, which powers essentially an index of the blockchain. So it enables you to go back, create decentralized applications that can communicate with the blockchain, and that is sort of the heart of what the forum is, and it's at the heart of a lot of the other decentralized applications that the Novosphere is currently developing. So we have very kind of interesting project in my mind is we plan to bring anonymous transactions and fungibility to the entire EOS ecosystem using a side state. This is actually something that we've been developing actively, and it's interesting because it sounds very similar to the shower coin that Dan Larimer had announced. But there's some similarities there. We're not really sure what that looks like, but we know that we can bring the ability for people to have essentially an off-chain version of whatever token currently exists on chain, and that transaction can happen in a side state and then push back to the main chain. We have a white paper that discusses that aspect of the Atmos token, and how the Atmos token plays into that whole ecosystem.
Well, that's really nice. Do you mind sharing any links with us so that people can follow up?
Oh yeah, I just put them in the chat here. So let's go to the main site.
Yes.
And that has links to kind of everything else. We're very active in Discord. We've actually just started a Telegram because obviously that's where most of the EOS community is living. So, but we have a very active Discord, and we do weekly community meetings with the development team and talking about how we want things to progress development wise, and the sort of updates to the forum. And then let me see. The other thing about this project is that as I said, this forum is completely open source. So we have you go to the homepage. You can actually, I'll post the link to the GitHub, but you can check the code out and see how that you can customize things. Post that in here. Thanks, Brian. Coming in with the Discord link. So that's a link to our Discord. There's the Telegram, and here's our GitHub.
All right, thank you. So since the forum is open source, will any developer who wants to build have to work within the Novosphere, or can they just pick it in? Is there anything that ties developers back to Novosphere if they decide to?
Right. So we've actually have there's a developer who's building a front end for the forum that's a little different use case. So they're building an anime streaming site that content is uploaded through the forum, and sort of using the indexing capabilities, his front end then can display in a more kind of let's call it slick way the content he has. I should probably I can post an example to that. But that's an example of someone who's come. They actually came to the community and said, this is something I want to do. And so we've been supporting their development and helping through kind of learning how to link their project to the forum and to the Novosphere DB. So that is something that anyone could fork this repository, work on whatever they wanted. But the community is it's very open, and it's very interested in helping people work on projects. As I said, we started with the forum because our primary thought was that we would like better ways to communicate and a sort of central place for everyone to meet and talk about projects. And we're trying to build that system so that all the users and all the developers can be kind of in a place and have open communication and very transparent, and since it's on chain. And it's also a good demonstration of the fact that this is what blockchain's all about. It's a censorship resistant. It's unstoppable. I can host an instance of this if web decides they don't want the forum being hosted, like anyone can host it. So it's that in that sense, it's really great. Oh, so we have the site here posted here. Big Blue Whale just posted. So this site is it's an anime streaming site that is powered by the EOS forum. So this is one of the examples of kind of offshoots that we kind of envision being able to take place. We build this core functionality, and then we're trying to attract other people who are interested in building on it. It's kind of what we're all about.
All right. That's really nice and amazing. I'm sure we'll have people streaming into the Novosphere community and proposing what they could also build with the base technology that you have built.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We hope to see some people coming in, and we'd love to work with other developers. We'd love to try to figure out other ways to promote the entire community.
Okay, so I think Dan is asking if you can host websites.
So, in terms of, I'm not quite sure exactly what that means. I mean, the software is designed to index like static file hosting. So no, we're not hosting files. We're using the ability to embed content into the blockchain. We're not. So it's not like an IPFS hosting situation. It is. It's really more like a place. I mean, you could have the problem with IPFS really is that it's hard to find files, and so our software actually makes it easy to index all that. So we actually built it so it works clean with IPFS. So if you host, you're hosting, you pinned a bunch of IPFS files, you have all these hashes that you need a place to organize them. The forum is a place you can do that, so you can embed those hashes into the blockchain, and then the forum software can host those cleanly and actually show you thumbnails and stuff.
So Tanish is asking how the sort of like bad content is taken care of, the NSFW content.
Sure. Yeah. So that's actually one of the things that is inherent with any with any sort of forum. You have spam, you have not safe for work content, you have stuff that's objectionable to a variety of people. So the model that we've gone with is opt-in moderation. We think that the user should control what they see and what they don't see. But obviously there's a problem with that, and who wants to have to spend their entire day picking through posts that are objectionable. So the other thing that we're enabling is the concept of moderation as a service. So you as a user can delegate another person or a group of people to moderate the forum. And in that case, you're able to say you have 20 people moderating for you. If at any point you feel like someone is abusing their power as moderator, you can simply opt out of their moderation. And so this solves some of the problems that you see with, if you look at Reddit and you look at particularly some of the cryptocurrency subs, you see an actual concerted effort by moderators to limit discussion and stop content. I mean, if you just go to our cryptocurrency and you try to talk anything positive about any project on this mainnet, you'll see how hostile the environment is. And I mean, I've had my posts like shadow censored, where I've just discussed very openly. These weren't offensive posts; they were just technical posts talking about advantages that the EOS has that other blockchains don't. And that's because a lot of the moderators on our cryptocurrency are very committed to Ethereum. You see their bias coming through, and you don't get to talk about who decided those people get to be moderator. They just got to that forum, subreddit first and created it, and therefore now they're moderators. That's one of the things we're looking to solve, is make it put the power back into the user's hands and give everyone that censorship resistance that we're all here for.
So how does the delegation work? Is it how voter proxies work on the EOS mainnet? You delegate.
Okay, yeah. So that is right now. That's one of the major things that we're looking to improve. Right now, you have to set up you have to use GitHub and set up a proxy account, essentially put yourself on this moderation list. We're trying to fix that and make it more user friendly so that you can simply say, I'm going to be a moderator and indicate that, and that all that will be taken care of. And that has to do with how well the GitHub API will function with what we're trying to do. So currently it's a little bit complicated, and it probably is the type of thing where we need to walk you through. But that's one of our major focuses in terms of making that step a lot easier and making choosing both putting moderation tools into the forum and becoming a moderator or saying that, look, I'm going to moderate for other people. So that's one of the things we're working on.
All right. Wow, that was a great presentation. I don't know if there are any questions. Let me check the sides to see if there's anything we might have missed out. Asked. So I can see there's help here from Chucho. I hope I'm saying that right. So it says, I think this is a question, and the answer is the backend state. Okay. Can't follow where that question is from. Oh yeah, I think it was to answer what Dan had asked, if this project can host website, if it is like static file hosting, and if it is kind of like IPFS. And the answer given was that the backend state, which is the database, is done through the Novosphere endpoint, and then the interface is just a static interface that presents data in the API. So all Novosphere-based dApps could be hosted directly on IPFS and use Novosphere node as a backend. Is that
right?
Correct?
That's correct. So that is, I don't know if that is clear enough, but yeah. So it's
quite technical though. But
right.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that's a great answer.
Oh, okay. So Tanish is asking, do we have rewards for content curators as well? Do you offer rewards?
Right. So, yeah, so that's something that we're still, the token economics of the Atmos token haven't really been fully fleshed out. Right now, it's simply you can upload and provide value and push stuff to the top. In terms of the moderators as a service, that's something that we've been looking into, and how we can, if you're a moderator, how can you reap benefits from moderation? Our goal for this is to keep the forum as open and as accessible as possible. That's why we really push the idea that even if you don't have an EOS account, you can use the forum using an anonymous ID, and you can interact with everyone. But we like to use the Atmos token as an enhancer to the experience. So we want it to be an augmentation of your user experience. So some of that will be with moderation, and some of that will be with just the ability to have customizations that are sort of unlocked by people who hold Atmos tokens. So that's it's a little vague, but it's also because we are very much still working that aspect out.
All right. Thank you for that answer. So is there any other question from the sides? I can see Dan, the CEO of Carmel, has been with us. He is coming in for the next session. That is Carmel. And I'd like to thank you very much for coming on to this session. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. I'm really excited that you guys are doing this. And so thank you, Daniel, for having us on.
All right. Congratulations on how far you've gotten the project, and all the best as you go along.
Right, thank you.
All right, thanks. So I think we have 3 minutes to spare. And since we don't have any last questions coming in, people are very happy with the presentation, Paul. I think we'll prepare to move on to, I think this should be the final dApp of this session, the final presentation of session 2. And we have a very lively guest, Dan. So I'll just end this, and then we'll meet in the other session.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, everyone, welcome to our last session, our last panel session, session 2. This is DAP 42 of about 57 presentations that have been made today. That's a lot of action in the EOS community. Just one day, and we couldn't get everyone. There's a lot of people who also wanted to come in, so I'm sure any other conferences that come up, there'll be a lot of people who will be really interested. I'm really excited by this panel presentation because I have seen what this team has done, and it's really exciting. And I have interacted with the members of this team, and I know that they are interesting, passionate, and really amazing people who are out to help people build new, better lives in the new economy that is coming in. So I won't speak much. I'll let Dan come in, but we'll say thank you to MyWish, who sponsored the EOS Summit. MyWish is a platform for creating smart contracts, and if you're interested in testing out an idea, if you're interested in building, you can go right ahead, try out the smart contract templates that are there. If you want additional help and assistance from the team, Vladimir and their team will be ready to support any development work that you may need done, because they have a huge team who can help. All right, so without further ado, we'll move in and we'll have Dan. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I guess the light here is not good enough, but I guess we'll go with this. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Daniel, let's learn how to code big time. Well, this is exciting. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited, Daniel, to see you again and everyone else. So I think I can talk a lot about the technical stuff all the time, but I really want to talk a bit about the non-technical side first, because I want to set the stage about what it is that we're trying to solve, what it is that we're trying to build, and then I can get as technical as anyone. First of all, everywhere we talk about Carmel, we always start with Chris, right? So as you all know, we created this persona for the sort of type of people that we think we can help with Carmel. And we want to help people who will be very, very dramatically affected in the next decade, or in the next decade and a half, 2 decades, and the early 2030s. That's where all the statistics are pointing. They'll be affected by the AI revolution. So there's a lot of analysts looking into this, but there's a lot of statistics being thrown on. Of course, when you look at predicting the future, you never know. But the numbers are about a third of jobs in developed countries, right? Like the first world countries in the States and the UK will be affected. And the numbers are much higher for countries underdeveloped, like the country that I represent, Romania. I'm in Canada, so I guess I represent 2 countries, but Romania will be very affected. I think, of course, a lot of the countries in Africa will be affected, and that's why we're excited. We're working with countries that will be affected. So our vision started in Romania. Go Carmel, Jerry. Our vision started with Romania because I was born in Romania, but I grew up in Canada. And the last 10 years, I decided to move back to Romania and kind of be involved and just kind of do something more than just build technology and build businesses. So I spent the last 10 years just kind of looking at the unprivileged situations of people in countries that are not part of what I call networks of productivity and exchange, right? So I just spoke to another friend of mine who is building the next $1 billion company. They raised like 200 million or whatever. And one of the 3 founders is also Romanian. I founded a company, a pretty successful 10 years ago in Toronto. 2 of the 5 co-founders were Romanian. And I always ask myself, no, why is it that Romanians, at least, you know, in my I'm talking about Romania because I'm Romanian, so in my experience, but I think it can apply to a lot of people. Why is it that, you know, Romanians have to be successful in Canada, in Silicon Valley, in New York, and so forth, but not in their own home? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's no really proper networks of productivity and change where people in underdeveloped countries can actually plug in and actually get paid and provide real global value. And I think that's the case, of course, in a lot of countries. My friend I just talked to is from Sri Lanka. They have issues there. You know, of course, we're really love the work we're doing with the guys in Africa. So what do we want to do? What the vision was, can we use technology, and particularly the new fledgling, the new rising, blockchain revolution, to build an economy where people all over the world, no matter where you are, no matter what situation you come from, what context, can we build a system where they can learn to leverage technology and use their creativity and their talents and their gifts and their particular sort of view on how that technology should change people's lives to build technology, create technology, and create value for all of us all over the world. So can we have, for example, someone in a first world country, let's say an entrepreneur who's running a business, can we have that person be serviced by a team made of a young girl in Nigeria, a young boy in Romania, and someone else is in Raqqa? Can we do that? And can we have that entrepreneur be super happy with the quality of services they get? So can we create something like that? Can we create an opportunity where that entrepreneur is happy with the service, is happy to pay for the service, but we can also make life better for people in underprivileged situations and areas and villages and so forth. So this is what started Carmel, and it started as a dream to kind of change a lot of unprivileged sort of places in the world using technology. And this is it. I always want to start the Carmel story with that, because we want to make sure we always stay true to that mission. But to solve that, I feel that we have to solve 3 big problems. And the first problem really is how we build software. And the crazy irony, friends, is this: the software industry, the industry that's disrupting the world. We're disrupting the world with software in any industry, finances, health, whatever you want. And I'm not just talking blockchain, I'm talking just regular digital solutions, right? So there's this huge revolution sweeping the world, in digital transformation. And of course, AI and blockchain are kind of spearheading that revolution. But digital is just changing the world. And here's the crazy irony, guys. Who's changing digital? Who's changing digital? And does digital need to be changed? Well, the case we make is that the way we build solutions for all these industries, the way we build digital solutions, the way we build software is outdated. We are building software, guys, using agile methodologies, which were invented in the late 90s. Okay, so if you look at the Agile Manifesto, it was published 2001. That's 17 years ago. In 2018, we're building digital solutions to change the world using a 17-year-old model. So to me, that's ironic, because if you go to any other industry that we preach that we're going to bring disruption to, and we say, hey, in finances, in law, in healthcare, in whatever, if you guys have 5-year old processes. They're going to be disrupted by technology. And we ourselves in technology, we have 17-year-old processes that we use. So I think the first thing we need to figure out is how to improve that process, because the process was built, a lot of it was built in a world that was very different than the world we have today. So back in the day, you have these consultants getting in one room with one whiteboard, talking to each other. And one of the 4 important pillars of Agile is face-to-face conversations. Of course, we're using technology now, and we're saying, yes, we can do Agile on Slack and so forth. But I think Agile itself was not created for such a decentralized, remote workforce that we're seeing today in the 21st century. So anyways, there's a lot of issues with Agile, but we feel that the first thing that we would need to disrupt is the way software is built. So the methodology, we call this the methodology of innovation, right? So the way people use digital technologies to innovate has to change. So that's one thing that has to change. So it's a difficult problem. The second thing that has to change, we have to figure out a way to help people learn to build these things in a different way, right? So just like we can't use Agile all the time to create scalable innovation because we use an old legacy system of innovating, same thing happens with education. We can't just be using legacy computer science programs. I don't care if they're from MIT or from Harvard or from University of Toronto, where I went, which is a great program. They're just too slow. A lot of the stuff that's happening there is outdated by the time you finish your 4-year program, okay? And what happens when we send young people to these universities, we don't prepare them for the real world that's 4 or 5 years after they finish, right? So we're educating the next generation of developers using really outdated ways. And there's a lot of movement in this. We know it's outdated and we know it needs to change because there's a lot of move. We have things like Codecademy, and look at Pluralsight, $1 billion company trying to create education for developers. But the way they're doing it, they're using the old outdated model of a teacher just giving you a lecture and they're just putting video behind it. So instead of going to a big 200-300 room of people, right, a room at universities, now you just sit in front of your computer and you listen to a teacher preach at you. But it's the same thing. I can just pause it and forward it. That's all. That's all the innovation. So the second difficult problem, in addition to helping innovators innovate, we need to help people learn to become technology creators, to become real builders in a different way. So that's a second difficult problem. And I feel the third difficult problem is that even if we can update and improve the way we innovate, even if we can teach people fast, I feel we need technology for it, right? Like methodologies and processes are good, but a methodology and a process is not enough. We need technology. So when I started this concept and when we look at it, I realized that if these 3 come together into one unified platform, in one unified experience, in one unified marketplace that can bring different stakeholders at the table and provide a win-win-win-win-win situation, and I think we have something out of this world incredible. And guys, this is what Carmel is. We created an innovation process that we haven't talked about too much, but we will. It's called fluid innovation thinking, and there's a lot of thinking that went behind that process, and we can't wait to kind of unveil that. But the way we've built Carmel, it was using that process. So that's what we're proposing in terms of building software faster, better, with a distributed workforce. It's based on a concept of storytelling. It's based on a concept of using more your fluid intelligence versus your crystalline intelligence. And it's based on a lot of proven concepts in neuroscience. So it's much better. And we proved it works because we've been using it for over a year in Carmel. Second thing, we invented this concept of education called tweak and learn. And why it's really special, it's because no one's currently making everyone's making a distinction between creating and learning, right? So everyone's making a distinction between the act of educating people and the act of getting those people to produce value. And what we have done, we've merged the two. So in the tweak and learn Carmel model, there's no such thing as learning versus producing. It's the same thing. When you actually use Carmel and you complete a technical challenge, which is a little puzzle, you complete that, at the same exact time you learning those skills, you've also produced value. It's groundbreaking. This little concept is groundbreaking because think of the other solutions. So the other solutions would be, let's say, on the productivity side, take Wix.com. You guys know about Wix.com, you know Squarespace, you know places that help you build apps, build software with a drag and drop, stuff like that, right? Like, think about that. They help people. You know, I looked at Wix the other week. I think they have like 120 something million users. It's insane. So what do they give you? They give you the productivity side. So an entrepreneur who was running a little restaurant doesn't have to hire a developer to build their site and pay them $20,000. They can just pay $15 a month at Wix, drag and drop a few things, pick a template, put in some text, put in some images, click a button, and you're done. Same thing with Shopify. Great successful stories, right? And that works, but it's just solving that productivity side. It helps people be productive without coding. So let's call it zero coding, okay? That's great, but it doesn't solve the problem that Carmel sets out to solve, which is getting Chris a job, getting Chris skills to thrive in the digital economy. That is not gonna help the kids from Romania. That's not going to help the kids from Africa or Sri Lanka or whatever. It won't, because the entrepreneur solves that problem. But here's the thing. He always wants the customization. He always wants a new page, another thing, and they always get stuck. I know so many people who started with Wix and they get stuck because then they can't customize. So then they finally go to an outsourcing shop, either in Romania, Ukraine, China, or India, to actually do it better, right? So it solves half of the problem. Now, you look at situations like Udemy, Pluralsight, Lynda, that was acquired by LinkedIn. They give you a lot of video-based information, a lot of courses, a lot of tutorials, which are great. They solve that. But look at Codecademy. You go there and type some stuff, and there's so much stuff in terms of variables, constants, if statement, loops, and classes, and objects, and all that theory. And you get people who go through that, they stick it through even boot camps. You pay $20,000 for a boot camp, and at the end of it, what do you know? Well, you know a bunch of stuff you've memorized. You know ifs, you know conditional statement, you know some of the theory. But here's the thing. That is not going to get you to produce real customer value for that restaurant entrepreneur. It won't. You got to get out of that editor online in Codecademy. You have to stop that Pluralsight video. You have to pause that Lynda video, and then you have to go into an IDE. You have to download Atom or Visual Studio or IntelliJ or whatever it is. You have to get your web app going if you're in the JavaScript world at least, which is I guess the most prevalent right now, where you have to download whatever backend for your Java apps, and it's not real world. It just isn't. And if you look at the way programmers learn today, they learn in a different model. They don't go theory first. They don't do, all those sort of lessons and lectures. They code. They have a problem. They look at the problem solution on Stack Overflow or ask one of their friends. It's very peer-to-peer. It's very problem-solving oriented micro-learning. I need to figure out how to implement this form right now. I need to implement this button. I need to make a color change. I need to figure out a font. It's really, really basic, and that's how they learn. But the way we teach people to learn before they get programmers is very different. So tweak and learn, which is a coin we've termed, is this. You start with a template, kind of like Wix, kind of the team. We're putting back Alex, the team on the website soon. So we kind of took it down for now, but it was there. We're gonna put it back soon. So we're basically looking at giving people a bunch of templates to start with, kind of like Wix, but then complementing that with challenges, micro challenges, where it says, okay, start with this template, but here's a challenge: change the text, change the subtitle, change the image, change whatever, right? And that we call that tweak and learn. And the third thing that has to happen that I think we've done a great job with, and now it's time to kind of like talk more about, is our technology. We've been working on technology for about 3 years. We even have a cute name for it. It's called Chunky, right? So this is a platform that it's a low-code platform. It's totally open source. By the way, the entire product is open source, MIT. We don't think that in the future people should make money from the code itself, but from what the code does. So we're giving all the code for free, and everything is going to be given for free, because I don't think that's how we need to protect ourselves as software companies in the future. Go ahead and copy it. It's not the way we want to actually create value. It's the economy, it's the system, it's the community that I think is going to bring value in Carmel. So the third piece that we're solving is the technology. So Chunky is pretty crazy. It's an incredible full stack local development platform that allows you to build iPhone apps, Android apps, serverless backends. It allows you to build, of course, websites. We can also build desktop apps. As a matter of fact, our entire product, desktop, backend, web, everything, and the upcoming mobile app is built with our platform. So we're building our platform with our platform, and we open source it, so you can check it out. So we're also adding bots. We're going to add bots so you can actually build your bots. And of course, blockchain. So you'll be able to build blockchain apps with our technology as well. And it's all open source. So we think that we actually are solving the three big problems to get us there. The technology with Chunky, the process which we can learn, and even the methodology with fluid innovation thinking. So this is what Carmel is all about. I'll stop right now because I think you guys are freaking out how much I speak. I know the Carmel team is all like, joining my kids and my wife in a crazy movement to get me to stop talking. So I'll just shut up right now. If you guys have questions, I'll get into as much technical details or whatever you want. But that's Carmel, guys. We're creating a net productivity exchange to give people all over the world a chance to help people innovate. That's what we're doing.
All right. That was such an amazing presentation. In fact, there's a guy or girl called Jimmy, and they said that this man could set ice on fire with his speech. Oh, man. Yeah. People are so excited here. Yeah, Carmel is an important project, no kidding. If the project is successful in creating networks of value that are burgeoning, that the burgeoning youthful population in developing countries can plug into, using their skills, yes, it will release massive value. We get rid of
That's exactly it. That's exactly it, my friends. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Oh, wow. And we have interesting plans we want to unveil. I don't know if we should unveil them here. If I get 2 thumbs up from Andre, I'll unveil it here. But we have some interesting plans to advance that very soon, and I can't wait to share with all of you. Wow. Yeah, but let's just put it this way. We want to make sure that as we build Carmel, we share the success. So I am tired of startups that go and become unicorns, and then they just sort of donate $50 here and there to an orphanage. It just makes me sick. So what we want to do, so thumbs up from Andre, okay, fine. So check it out. We want to create a model from the get-go. We want to build it in our economy and in our business model, and we want to take 10% of every single thing that we sell. So by the way, we're creating a hybrid model where we, in addition to just tokens, we actually sell stuff, right? So templates, chunks, pieces of code, websites, iPhone apps, bots, whatever people create on our platform, they can actually create those challenges, whatever. They make money from it, right? So developers, creators can actually get a percentage from that. So what happens, we want to take up 10% of everything that's sold on our platform, on our marketplace, and we want to put it aside. And what we're going to do, we just created this platform, and Toju Gaka is part of it, so he knows it, but you should be part of it as well. We want to create a campaign called Plant the Lab, right? So I want us to find volunteers in impoverished parts, and I'm going to be biased on this. We want to start with Romania. I want to see one village in Romania implement this first, but Toju Gaka is there, so definitely going to do it in Nigeria, I think. And I just talked to my friend in Sri Lanka, who's already kind of doing that. He's teaching kids, his friend is teaching kids to code, and he's donating there. So I'm like, well, donate to Carmel, you know? So we want to take a few places, and we're going to say 10% of whatever we sell, you who buy credits in Carmel, because we're going to have this concept of credits in addition to tokens, where you can buy like $500 worth of credits, and that, you know, you can actually spend it on templates, chunks, whatever. And it's like having someone do $500 worth of work for you on the platform, right? So you buy credits, but you can buy credits up front, and 10% of that, real cash, not just tokens, real fiat. We're going to take it and implement Carmel computer labs in these areas. And we want to figure out a way that we can, hopefully, the more successful we are, the more we're going to keep investing in our lab, right? So if this works, then we want to start implementing places. And imagine the day when some kid in one of those labs is actually going to create real value, not just learn, but actually produce money through that lab, through the Carmel network, and actually implement the site for the guy in New York wanting just a pizza shop website. And that kid goes with his first dollar earned home and say, I just brought $1 in this village through Carmel. How exciting would that be? And that's exactly the direction we want to take with this Plant the Lab. So I just think that's exciting, because the more successful we are, the more labs we can plant, right? And the beautiful thing is that people can plug in back into the network, right? So,
Awesome.
Yeah, Koju is the man. Daniel's the man. Come on.
You are the man, man. All these people are the men. And for those who are, and for those ones who are ladies, they are the ladies too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm picking up a comment from Tanish, and he says that education nowadays doesn't guarantee skills. Majority of the developing countries sell education on the basis of job placements, but what they don't focus on is skill development. Examination does not check skills, job and practice does.
Okay, can I go on like a 2-3 minute rant on this? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, let me finish. Let me talk about that for a second. I know exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying. Let me tell you this. Most of education caters to one part of the brain. So in the 1960s, neuroscientists have looked at the way intelligence works, right? So the intelligence, the way it works, they talk about it, and now it's common language in neuroscience. It's split in two parts: crystallized intelligence and fluid intelligence. Okay, so crystallized intelligence is the part, it's all over the brain, so you can't just say it's one part, but it's mostly the cerebrum, right, and the prefrontal cortex. And fluid intelligence is mostly in the cerebellum, right? So the crazy part is on the cerebellum, we have more than half of the neurons, which is crazy stuff. But most of the education is based on crystallized intelligence. What does that mean? Crystallized intelligence is the intelligence that allows you to make decisions based on acquired knowledge and experience. Meaning, if you learn the capital of Europe, then I've asked you, what's the capital of France? You say Paris, it's because you memorized it. So crystallized is taking information, crystallizes in your brain, and then you can regurgitate it. That's why standardized testing, like SATs, like multiple questions, like find X, what is the solution to this problem? There's only one solution. Just find it and say it, work, right? Because if you find the solution, you get 100%. If you don't, you get 0. Boom. The problem with that is that most of the world requires you after schooling to use your fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the brain's ability to make decisions without prior knowledge. Imagine that. Meaning, you're in a new country and you have to find your way around to the nearest subway station. You've never been there, you don't speak the language, you've never been in that situation. How do you do it? If you're a crystallized type person, you're lost. You sweat, your heart beats like, I've never been here, what do I do? If you're a person that's in different situations in life, you flex your fluid intelligence, it's like, I don't know, I'll just make it happen. Let's see what happens, right? So in entrepreneurship, in jobs, in a new digital economy where we don't know what's going to happen next, you need fluid, intelligence-based education. That is what Carmel with Two Can Learn gives you. So we can learn, you don't actually have to memorize, this and that and it's and just go in there, tweak, play around with it, and you'll be in that situation, in a brand new situation. You don't need to have previous knowledge. Just take the challenge, do your best. If you fail, hopefully we're going to build this chunky AI to keep guiding you and guide you. That's the difference. And that is what builds skills versus just building memory, right? So that's what's so special about that. The Carmel way, the We Can Learn, build your fluid intelligence. And we know this is exactly what employers are looking for. Because I've been an employer for many years, and that's what I've been looking for when I hired developers. So that I just want to go on that rant of crystallized versus fluid intelligence. And right now, to my knowledge, not a lot of people are doing this. I don't think anyone's doing this. So That's why blockchain or no blockchain, that's why I think Carmel is very unique, in a very unique position.
Wow, that's just something, because you've actually explained a lot of things that all of us notice, but then we do not have the words to describe.
Yeah, there's neuroscience behind it. Yeah.
When you mentioned that entrepreneurs use a version of tweak and learn just to try and see if the business they're doing works, and then they'll start again.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
That leads a lot of success.
Yeah.
I think I like that.
And that's why a lot of people who do great in school and they get 10 out of 10 and they get great marks, you put them in a great, in an unknown situation as an entrepreneur and they can't do it. You see a lot of people will say, I don't want to hire Harvard grads. They went to MBA schools, they know everything, but when you put them in a new situation, they can't adapt. That's why this is exciting for us immigrant kids who come from tough backgrounds, because this is a new world that is finally start for our skills. Right? If you're a person who does so well in school, you're a great person at memorizing, this is not a world that's going to require your skills anymore. This is a world that requires street smarts, that requires quick adapting to new unknown situation, right? That's the new world. And that's why I think maybe in a crazy event of turns, undeveloped countries might actually have an edge over highly educated countries. Because I'll tell you, man, those poor countries, they are very creative at staying alive.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I see people in poor countries, in like Romania and villages, their creativity is incredible. Like, how did you come up with that? If we can harness that and build real digital value for people who are willing to pay money in developed countries, boom.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow. I've had so much fun on this session. I don't know if anyone has questions or people are just enjoying. Tanish says you check Charles Hoskinson's if anyone here doesn't agree with that.
Yeah.
Daniel Case says that was a great talk and he's excited. What a global army of skilled entrepreneurs you'll unleash on the world. I think you're an inspirational force, Dan. And
that's it.
And that's why this project will be very successful.
That's it. And I love that you said not just developers. I love that you said skilled entrepreneurs. That's brilliant, bro, because that's exactly the way we see it. You know, there's this concept of a gig economy developing.
Yes.
Not just 9-to-5 jobs. We don't want to get our people 9-to-5 jobs. No, it's a gig economy. So our people, we're calling them builders, not just developers, builders. You're going to have skills to build. So maybe you can actually build businesses, not just websites and apps, right? Like maybe I would love the day someone gets an idea for an app from this site, from this impoverished, undeveloped countries, and say, man, I just have this idea. I just never think it would work. Well, just build it. Put a few challenges up, build a quest for it on Carmel, and maybe someone can join from like Sri Lanka or Russia or whatever, and you guys could build the next WhatsApp or whatever, right? That's what Carmel can do, not just a 9-to-5 job kind of system, more like a gig economy that connects people with ideas. I swear, I just want to go to bed and wake up in 2 years and see where this is going to be. I'm so excited about what, I'm so excited about what we can build.
Oh, wow. That's such an amazing session. Even I don't have any more questions for you. And I'm seeing on the side chats, people do not have a lot of questions. It's now 10 p.m. We're supposed to go on to a small break up until 10:20 when Raman will take over for session 3. So this has been session 2 and it has been amazing. Yeah, everyone loves your passion, Dan. You just
wait. Did you just say we have 20 minutes for me to keep on going? Is that what?
I was warned about.
I can ask myself questions, Daniel, and I can answer them if necessary.
Okay, I'll probably give you an opportunity to ask yourself more.
No, I'm just joking. No, but yeah, I mean, if you guys love the story, then we need you, right? Because this is a community, and we have all these opportunities right now to raise venture capital money. And I moved back to Canada 3 months ago to look for opportunities to grow this company. But you know, and I'm very open and very vulnerable about everything we do, so there's not a lot of mystery here. We're looking for ways to fund this company, but my dream is not to actually put a bunch of tokens and equity in the hands of just a few people who just want to service big companies. I want to make sure we always stay true to the dream. So if you guys are interested, definitely invest in this company. Invest, because if we're successful and our token is worth something, we're all going to be successful. We already have about 30,000 or so people that own our token. So we can launch on an exchange now, and we can start having people trade it. We could have done this 6 months ago, but we really want to make sure we have something valuable, and we're going through the beta. People are loving the beta. We're going to make it even better. Guys, we have a product. We have technology. We have a process. We have a team. We have amazing people, guys, right now that work for us for free. So my dream is to raise money to pay them, so they don't actually run away and they have to just get contracts. We have amazing people. Oh, you know what? Andre, can you put the US preview website that our guys have built for them? I guess we can show it because it's still in preview and it's live. So just to show what people can build with Carmel, just a little bit of a preview. We had our interns, people who are just learning to code, mentored by our mentors, use our technology to build the official websites for EOS Nation. And I think they just have to finish a bit of the blog integration and the newsletter integration, and the website is pretty much done. I guess it's done. Yeah, there you go. So if you guys click on that, that's something done exactly through our website. So we can build anything. So we have these great people that we want to hire, but I want to raise some money. So if you really believe in this, talk to me, talk to Andre, and basically just invest in this company. And then we can be at a place where we, as a community, say, okay, it's enough already. Let's list the token and let's trade it. But before we list it, we wanna distribute a few more. So if you believe, talk to me or Andre and get invested in this, because we need you. I'd rather you own a piece of it than some big VCs who are just after their money. So if you believe in what I said, just join.
Wow. Yeah, I was looking at the EOS Nation site loading up. Probably, I don't know if I'll get a chance to do a screen share just to show the audience what's going on.
Can I show you some? Can I tell you something crazy about that site? Right. So,
wow.
So let me tell you something exciting about that site.
Yes.
This is just a little example of what we can do. And by the way, the Carmel.io website is built with our platform, but I said that already. We can build templates like that. Our developers can build templates like that. People in poverty, these are people from Romania who build this.